On number 49, I see this expression and I have to figure out which below is a factor. So let me figure out two numbers that will multiply to 6, well, -6, and then add to -5. I know that 3 times 2 is 6, and if I put a negative on one of the numbers, I will get a -6. But I can't get -5 with only one number negative, so I can't use that. So I try -6 and 1, and I get it, because -6 and 1 will give me -6 when I multiply. But when I add them, I get -5. That means my factors would be x minus 6 and x plus 1. Well, x minus 6 is A. Now be careful, because they try to trick you and put x minus 1, but it's supposed to be a positive 1. So D is not the answer. The answer is A. Moving on. Let's talk about number 50. On 50, I see coffee stores, and it wants to know which below is not true. Well, it's obvious. It has to be J, because it says that the company has opened 250 stores each year. When you say that, you're talking about a linear movement, and it would be consistent. So, given that this is not a linear graph, J is not true. Let's talk about 51. What is the slope of the line? Very simple. I have 2 points. Whenever it says slope, we know that this is a linear problem, so we're going to do a linear regression. The linear regression would be number 4 when you press stat and calc. And remember, you have to put your x values in list 1, your y values in list 2. When you do that, it gives you the answer as A. Number 52. Put this side in Y2, this side in Y1, this side in Y2, and look for the intersection. When you do that, it will give you the answer as 2. Let me model that for you, because if you didn't watch the first video, then you won't have the skill to do this. So 0.3 parentheses 12x minus 16, and then 0.4 12 minus 3x. And we want to either look at the table when the numbers are the same. See, I got lucky. The answer is 2, because y1 and y2 have the same answer. Or go to the graph and just do second trace, enter, enter, enter to find the intersection. Second trace, oh, I left out a word, intersect. So it would be second trace 5. Enter, enter, enter. And there it is, x is 2. Number 53 wants the domain that starts at -7 and then moves to 2. Well, we know that domain represents vertical lines. So look at the x-axis and figure out when it moves from -7 all the way to +2. And that would be answer choice D. If you look at the other graphs, they don't start at -7 and go to 2. So that's real simple. Number 54. I see that it wants the area, meaning I have to multiply these two expressions. So put both of those in the y equals screen. When you do that, parentheses 5x plus 4, and then 4x minus 4. Make sure they're on the same line. Now I put it in y2, that doesn't matter. You can put it in y1 or y2. But wherever you put the answer, make sure it's on one line. So 20x squared minus 4x minus 16. You notice I'm not putting a negative here, I'm putting minus. Be careful with that. That's a minus sign. Now go to the table, and I see that y1 and y2 what? They match. So G is the answer. Now, the rest of the problems that you have in your packet are just slope practice problems. So let's see if we can get through this in about 3 minutes. That'll make this a 7-minute video, and we'll be done. Number 1 is asking you for the rate. So it wants the slope. Well, that's how many feet per minute. So it's going up 3 over 2. Once you find that second point on the line, given that it starts at 0, you can rise and run, and the answer is C. Number 2, I want to know which below describes the rate. Well, it says that you went up $20 and then over 4 shirts that were sold. So that's 20 over 4. Well, when you reduce that, that's 5 over 1. Now write the words. The Y, the rise, says cost. The X, the run, says shirt. So it's $5 a shirt, which is answer choice B. Now we look at number 3. It wants the rate as well. So I find another point on the line. I go up 15 and to the right 1, so 15 over 1. That means 15 pages every minute. Answer choice D. Now we do number 4. It wants to know, how do I represent an equation when I shift 8 units to the right? Well, we think 8 units to the right. I know I'm moving on the x-axis, so it has to be by the x. But why is it A if it said move to the right? Because I'm thinking a positive. Well, whenever you move horizontally, it is the opposite when you write it down. So it has to say minus 8, making A the answer. Now we look at number 5, and it says move left 2. So left, I'm thinking negative, but because it's a horizontal movement on the x-axis, it's going to be a positive sign, so plus 2. And then moving up or down, it stays. So if I move up, it's 5. If I move up 5, it's positive. If I move down 5, it's going to be negative, but this says up 5, so the answer is B. Now let's do number 6. Number 6 asks for it's more transformation information, and very quickly, if I'm going to translate up 2 units, that's plus 2. But if I'm moving left, that's going to be plus 5. So I look to see which one does plus 5 with a horizontal movement, meaning it's by the x, and then up 2, a positive 2, on the outside. And the only one that does that is C and D. So then I have to look at the last one. It says stretch it by a factor of 3, so it has to be multiplied by 3. The answer is C. Okay, the rest, number 7 is a matrix problem, but they're not in standard form, so you have to put them in standard form. And I've already gone over matrix, so you know what to do. Put them in matrix form, put in the coefficients, and you'll see that the answer is B. Number 8, the answer is D as in dog. And on number 9, the answer is B as in boy. 10, the answer is D. 11, the answer is D. 12, the answer is D. 13, the answer is A. 14, the answer is B. And 15, the answer is D as in dog. So, I didn't go over the last 7 problems, but if you have questions, we'll talk about it later. And that concludes our video. Have a good day.